Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. Albert Einstein. You can't get back time. It's a priceless commodity that must be used wisely, especially when it comes to your retirement. Today I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you save for retirement and show you how you can use time to your advantage in helping you grow your wealth. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get notified when I come up with more content. It always breaks my heart when I see older individuals of retirement age working in jobs they hate because they haven't saved enough money for their later years. So they're relegated to either going back to work or having to live off the little that they get from Social Security. According to the Social Security Administration, as of December 2022, the average Social Security check is just $1,825 a month, or a little less than $22,000 a year. And about 40% of retirees over 60 years old rely solely on this income to live. And of course, this is not enough to live off of, especially when you consider that over 50% of retirees have debt and have annual expenses over $49,000 a year. $22,000 going in versus $49,000 going out. Of course, this doesn't work, so you have to make sure you make a plan for your retirement so you're not relying on the government to take care of you. Social Security should be your bonus to retirement, not your main income. So let's get into it. So first, you want to start with the end in mind and figure out just how much you need to save before you retire. An easy rule of thumb used by many financial planners is something called the 4% rule. The 4% rule stems from historical data on stocks and bond returns between 1926 and 1976. The thought is that you should be able to withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year over a 30-year period, even through times of recession, without exhausting your nest egg. You can use the 4% rule to see how much you need saved by retirement by taking the amount you want to live off each year and multiplying that by 25. The median annual individual income at the end of 2022 was $1,084 a week, or about $56,000 a year. If you plan to live off that same income in retirement, you would take $56,000 times 25 and you would get $1.4 million. That is what you need saved up if you go by the 4% rule. Now, if you want to check your math, you can take 1.4 million, multiply that by 4%, and you get $56,000. But many see the 4% rule as too conservative because the average return for the S&P 500 is 10.7%. And if you assume that as the returns on your portfolio, then you would only need to save up $523,000 by the time you retire. There's a lot of variables missing in these figures, so you want to consider your wants and needs and figure out a plan for your specific situation and risk tolerance. Now, when planning for retirement, you want to consider at what age you want to retire. Most Americans plan to retire at 65 or 66 years old, but a 2022 Gallup poll shows that the average American actually retires at 61 years old. Now, there's many reasons for this, including unexpected health issues, family issues, and company layoffs. But whatever the reason, this shows that you can't perfectly plan out your life or your retirement. Man plans, but God laughs. Life is unpredictable and unexpected events will inevitably happen. Planning conservatively will help mitigate some of those unexpected issues. Another factor you want to consider when planning for retirement is where exactly you want to retire to. Maybe you want to move closer to family in another state, or if you're in love with the tropical climates and want to retire to a beach in Jamaica, or if you see yourself moving to a quaint little town in Italy. You won't get there by accident. Now, in the US, the top 3 states to retire are Florida, South Carolina, and Arizona, most likely because of the low taxes, the good weather, and the fun activities. But surprisingly, according to the 2010 Census Bureau, only 1.6% of people move out of state when they retire. Retirees typically either stay in their current home or move within state. And that's perfectly fine, but you want to make sure you have the option to make that choice and not let that choice be made for you. Now, retirement location is very important because the cost of living in every state or country are very different. A $50,000 lifestyle in Manhattan, New York is vastly different than a $50,000 lifestyle in, let's say, Decatur, Illinois. Location will drastically change how much you need saved up for retirement. Third is debt reduction targets. When planning for retirement, you have to consider your debt reduction plans. Whether that's credit cards, student loans, car loans, or mortgages, you want to make sure you address that before retirement. According to the Forbes survey, nearly 1 in 3 borrowers don't think they will ever pay off their student loans. And according to the Retirement and Mortgages survey by the American Financing Team, 44% of people still have a mortgage when they retire. Having all of your debts paid off before retirement drastically reduces the amount of passive income you need to survive because you're taking your biggest expenses off the table. Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary says to pay off all debts by age 45 so you can focus on growing your capital. And most financial experts agree they should be paid off at least before you retire. So don't give up paying off debt because it's important for your life today and your life in retirement. The fifth thing you want to consider is inflation. When planning for retirement, you have to consider inflation, which according to the Consumer Price Index is at 6.5% right now. And according to the February 1st Federal Reserve press release, they plan on bringing that down to 2% by the end of the year. Now, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the average inflation rate is 2.38%. So that is typically a safe assumption to make when planning for retirement. Now, inflation erodes your buying power, so you need to make at least 2.38% on your money just to be able to buy the same things you buy today, much less get ahead. So for example, the average cost of a gallon of milk is $4.43 right now. Let's round that down to $4 just for numbers' sake. At 2.38% inflation, in 30 years that $4 gallon of milk will be $8 a gallon. So you have to consider this because you'll end up saving what you think is enough, only to come to find out that you can't buy the same things that you used to buy. Now, the sixth thing you want to consider when planning for retirement is just your overall lifestyle. No one wants to retire and live the rest of their lives not being able to enjoy themselves. So it's important that you consider what you want your life to look like and what you want to do when you retire. If you love to travel, you may need to plan for several trips throughout the year in retirement. If you like concerts, then you may want to include monthly or quarterly concert tickets. And if you love to eat and try new foods, you may need to account for that as well. If you want to enjoy your later years of life, you want to consider all of these things when considering how much you need to save up for retirement. Once you have your target savings amount, then you can figure out how much you need to save each paycheck to get you there. And you can play around with an investment calculator like this one to figure out how much you need to save up each month to hit your target. So if you need $1.4 million at retirement, you can see that you would need to save about $612 a month for 30 years. That's a little over $7,000 a year or 13% of your annual salary. And to be safe, you might want to consider even more. The most important thing you can do is to consistently invest over time and to start as soon as you can because time is of the essence. Let's consider if you started saving 5 years earlier. You would have only had to save $364 a month or less than 8% of your income. You would have had to save $67,000 less to get to that same $1.4 million goal. Or if you could afford to save 13% of your income over those 5 additional years, you'd have $2.4 million saved up. That's an additional $1 million saved just by starting a few years earlier. This is because the growth is exponential. Each additional year you save returns a lot more than you actually contribute. So it's important to start as soon as possible and to stay consistent. I'm Bradford Irons. Please like this video, subscribe, and share. If you need one-on-one help learning how to increase your income and grow your wealth, please hit the link in the description and sign up for a free consultation. Thank you.